All right. Now, this is a little bit different. 7.8 is 12.9% of what number? All right, so this is a little bit different. Here it was of 160. The total amount of 160 was given, but see here it's not. 7.8 is 12.9% of what number? Okay, so it's a little bit different problem, and the approach will be a little bit different now. The young lady that called in before was talking about us dividing. This is an example of where we're going to actually divide. We're going to have to divide a decimal. Let's take a look at this problem. All right, so here we go. All right, so we got 12.9%, and the way you would write 12.9% as a decimal, we did this earlier in the show, would be you move the decimal place over 2, it'd be 0.129. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take 7.8, we're going to take 7.8 and divide 12.9. Or actually, I'm sorry, 0.129, forgive me. 0.129. 7.8 is 12.9. 7.8 is 12.9% of what number? All right, so we told you earlier in the show, actually in, I think it was the second week, we want this divisor to be a whole number. And to make it a whole number, you have to move that decimal place over 3 places. Well, whatever you do over here, you've got to do over here. So let's move this 3 places. 1, 2, 3, and then let's move the decimal place straight up. We did all of that last week. That's what we did last week. Let's put zeros here and here. All right, so now what we're going to do is ask you, how many times does 129 go into 7? It doesn't. How many times does 129 go into 78? It does not go into 78. How many times does 129 go into 780? And I think it goes in 6 times. I think this goes in 6 times. So you don't put the 6 over the 7. Don't put the 6 over the 8. And you're going to put the 6 over the 780. Put the 6 right there. Now let's multiply. So we get 6 times 9 is 54. Carry the 5. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus the 5 is 17. Carry the 1. And 6 times 1 is 6. Plus 1 is 7. So now you're going to subtract. So you subtract 780 minus 774, and you get 6. You bring down one number. The 0. You don't continue to bring down number after number. We talked about that last week. So now you brought down the one number. How many times does 129 go into 60? It doesn't go into 60. So let's put 0 over the next term, which is before the decimal point. Now you multiply. 0 times 129 is 0. Now you're going to subtract. 60 minus 0 is 60. You bring down one number. All right, so you ask yourself, how many times does 129 go into 600? I think that goes in twice. All right, so then you multiply again. You get, well, let's just stop right there. Okay, let's just stop right there. So final answer, 60.2. Final answer. 7.8 is 12.9% of what number? All right, you get 60.2. All right, so that's method 1. I want you to have a mastery level understanding. All right, so we're going to do the same problem using a different technique where we set up proportions. The problem we just did, your first step is to turn the percent into a decimal. Okay, but with this second technique, I hope you've discovered that the first step is to turn the percent into fractions. Let's proceed. Let's take a look at the next problem. All right, so let's turn this 12.9%, let's turn it into a fraction. All right, so we have 12.9 over 100. 12.9 over 100. All right, let's set that equal to, okay, so now we have, don't forget, is top. Whatever number is associated with is, we're going to put it at the top. We dealt with the 12.9 already. Ignore that. We dealt with that already. That's why we have 12.9 over 100. 7.8 is. So we put the 7.8 at the top. We put the 7.8 at the top. Whatever numbers associated with is, we said we put at the top. 7.8 is 12.9% of what? Of goes at the bottom. Whatever numbers with of goes at the bottom. And we don't know what it is. That's why we put the unknown variable at the bottom. Now, let's cross multiply. We get 100 times 7.8. 100 times 7.8 is 780. 780 is equal to, now you cross multiply here, you get 12.9x. 12.9x. We're solved for x. Let's divide by the number next to what we're solving for. We're solving for x. We get 12.9. Divide both sides by 12.9. So now you end up with 780 divided by 12.9. And 780 divided by 12.9, you'll discover that you get the same 60.2. Get the same 60.2. You can sort of see it right here. You can sort of see it right here. You get 780 divided by 12.9. You'll see that you get the same 60.2. All right? So, that's same answer in more than one way. More than one way. We did the same problem in more than one way. We only have a couple more minutes, and what I'm going to try to do is try to do two more problems in a very, very short period of time. We do have time for a phone call, though. If you were to call in right now, we'd be able to quickly answer your question. But if not, let's just keep going. All right? So here we go. Last problem. 2.7 is what percent? All right, is what percent? It turns out for this particular problem, what you're going to do, I'll do this very quickly. You just divide 2.7 over 16.578. All right, we'll maybe pick this up next time. We only have a short period of time. If you divide those two numbers, you end up with 0.1628, which is the same thing as 16.28%. All right, 16.28%. All right, so that's how you do that problem. And then the final method, we only have a couple minutes left. The final way to method 2 of solving the same problem is to turn the percent into a fraction. When you had 20%, you put 20 over 100. When you had 15%, you put 15 over 100. When you had 12.9%, you put 12.9 over 100. This says what percent? So there, you know you got to put something over 100, but you don't know what the percent is. That's why you put x over 100. So you put, and then is top. So you got 2.7 is, all right, so you're going to put 2.7. That's at the top. And then of 16.578. All right, you'd have to cross multiply here. You'd get 16.578x is equal to 270. You'd have to divide both sides by 16.5, and you discover you get a final answer of 16.28. I'm sorry we had to rush through that. But we only have so much time. Thank you for watching. You've been watching Chicago Students Dominate Math. My name is Mr. Hendricks.